Welcome to an invitation. Today, I invite you to learn how to make some really easy appetizers with me using bacon, my very favorite ingredient. I love bacon, so I love to make appetizers with bacon. The best thing about these appetizers is you can make them ahead of time and put them in your freezer. And then if you're having a little party, you can just pull them out, put them in the oven for 15 minutes, and they're ready to go. So I'm going to show you how to make these. These are 3 great appetizers. So we're going to be using bacon, and one of the things that I like to do before we use the bacon to wrap the items in is I'm going to go ahead and cut this into the size pieces that I like, which is about 1/2 slice. And then I'm going to put this in the oven at 350 degrees for about 3 to 5 minutes. What this does is takes some of the fat, starts to come out of the bacon, and so that when it cooks around the item that we are using, it cooks faster, but it also is not as greasy as it would be otherwise. Okay, so now I'm just going to run this in the oven for about 3 to 5 minutes, and then we'll start wrapping. Okay, so our bacon came out of the oven, and I want to show it to you. See, it's just a little bit cooked, but it's nicer than it being raw, and it's not quite as greasy, and it's a little bit of the fats come out of it, so it makes it more pliable and easier to roll. You don't have to do this, but it really does make for a better product. So the first item I'm going to do, this is from a friend of mine in Dallas, and she calls it a bacon zinger, and it is a fresh, not a fresh, but a dried apricot. These are Turkish apricots, and they're dried, and so what we do is we're going to just cut them open slightly, and then I'm just going to pull it apart very simply. You can cut it with a knife if you'd rather. It doesn't really matter because it's going to go inside the bacon. And then we're going to put a piece of jalapeno in it. Now, I bet a lot of you don't know how to cut a jalapeno, so I'm going to show you. For me, it's really important to use gloves. Some people don't use gloves, but it always bothers my hands if I don't use gloves. So we've got a fresh jalapeno. And if you're buying these at the grocery store, one of the things to realize is the greener it is, the less spicy it is. If it's got those veins on it that are kind of hardened on the outside, that means it's older and it's going to be a lot spicier. So if you like it spicier, get one of those. But so this is a nice green jalapeno with slick skin. So what we're going to do is just cut the top off like this, and then I'm going to cut it in half. And the heat from the jalapeno comes from these veins right here. Some people think it's the seeds, but it's really the veins. The seeds are attached to the veins, so that's why they're hot. So I just take my knife and run it alongside either side to release the veins. And now you just got a nice clean piece there. And so this is very simple. I'm going to cut it in half this way and in half this way. I've got a few seeds left in there, but we'll just get rid of those. So it's real easy to do. So now you have that. Okay, so once again, we've got apricot, the bacon, and a little bit of jalapeno. And what I do is, this is a half a piece of bacon, and I'm just going to roll it like that. And you want to place it on your sheet pan, seam side down. So now you can see it's like that. So I'll make a couple more of these so we have some to try. Once you get all set up for this, they're very simple to make. So you can see now we've got 4. I'll do one more and then we'll be ready to go. And we'll go to the next item. What's yummy about this is you've got a little bit of sweet, a little bit of spicy, and then you get that yummy saltiness from the bacon. Okay, now we're going to go to the next item. So for this one, this is an old classic. We have medjool dates and some pecans. I love medjool dates. One of the great things about medjool dates is medjool dates are not dried. They are a fresh date. They actually have come from the tree, from the date palm. They're from Morocco. They're really nice and sweet. You can see the inside is just yummy and juicy. So it's not like a dried date that you buy. So one of the things when you're working with dates, we're going to cut it lengthwise. and there's always going to be a pit in it. So you want to take that out. Make sure you remove the pit. And then in this case, I'm going to replace the pit with a half of a pecan. Okay, so those are ready to go, and I'm going to make one more. So again, we're cutting it in half, and usually the pit is on one side or the other, so be sure you take that out. We don't want to mistake that for the pecan. And put this in here. This is one of my favorite appetizers to serve during the holidays, but also I serve it year round because it's so yummy. So again, we've got our bacon, same bacon. I'm going to put the date and the pecan in there and just roll it. We're going to put the seam side down like that. Okay, and the last one we're doing is another one that I really like. Today I'm going to be using chicken breast. So we can use, sometimes we do this with quail in Texas, but not everybody has access to quail. So if you have quail, this is a wonderful item to do. I'm going to put on gloves because I'm going to be working with raw chicken. Okay, so this is Italian dressing. The secret is we use wishbone Italian. There's nothing like it. You can use any kind of Italian. You can make your own vinaigrette to marinate it. So I'm just going to pour this right over the chicken breast. So this is one chicken breast that we've cubed into about 1.5 to 2 ounce pieces. So I'm going to let that marinate in there. And now this is raspberry preserves that I have mixed with a little bit of a chipotle sauce. You can buy chipotle at the grocery store. So it just has a little bit in it, and it's just basic raspberry preserves with the chipotle in it. And we go ahead and put that in there. So we're gonna give that chicken some really great flavor, and I just mix it all in. Maybe a little more. Can't have too much raspberry and chipotle. Okay, so we're gonna let that sit. Now, ideally, you would do this and let this sit for about 15 to 20 minutes in the refrigerator, or even outside the refrigerator, doesn't matter. But we're gonna go ahead and make this now. So same thing, same piece of bacon. You're gonna take your chicken, make sure there's plenty of sauce on it, and we're gonna roll it like that. And we have one more step to this one. This one is just slightly more complicated than the other. And if you're using quail breast, you would do the exact same thing. What we normally do with a quail breast is we cut them in half. And then I always take a little extra of this sauce, and I'm gonna add just a touch of water to it. Just about a teaspoon of water we're gonna add to it, mix it up so it just softens it up just a little bit. Okay, and then just using your finger, we're just gonna glaze the outside. Or you can actually, that's probably easier, just to put it in there and glaze it, and then we'll put it right on the pan, just like that. Okay, look at those beautiful items. We just made 3 items. You can do this at home. And if you wanna make these ahead of time and freeze them, go ahead and do this. Put this in the oven, 350 for about 15 to 20 minutes. It's called par cooking them. Pull it out, let them cool, and then you can put them in a baggie and put them in the freezer ready to use. All right, I'm gonna put this in the oven. We'll be right back to taste them. Okay, look at these beautiful items. We have our bacon wrapped chicken with the raspberry chipotle sauce, bacon wrapped apricots with a little jalapeno, bacon wrapped dates with your surprise pecan inside. Now, when you're serving these, one of the things that people say to me is they're brown, and they are brown. They're bacon, they're brown. So one of the things that we do in catering is we always add a little color to the plate with something else to make that look better. So one of my favorite things and one of the most easiest things in the world is to use an orange. So I just do a couple of slices of orange. Sometimes I cut them in half like this. And we're just gonna lay them on the plate, kind of spun like that. And then I have just a piece of rosemary. This can be from your garden or the grocery store. You can use any herbs. It's just something we have a lot of right now. So I'm gonna put some fresh rosemary on there. And then, so you're ready to serve, and I can just move these over here. And I like to serve these all at the same time because they're so pretty. And I mean, they taste good and they're different. And when you put them all out, then people get to taste all the different ones. So this is the apricot with the jalapeno. Kind of came out a little bit, but you can see the jalapeno caramelizes a little bit. This flavor is magnanimous. Sweet, salty, a little spicy. And then the bacon wrapped date with the pecan inside. And people that don't like dates, if you don't tell them they're dates, let them eat it first. They probably never had a medjool date, which is a fresh date. It's never been dried. I'm in heaven. Thank you for joining us today. Remember, we're here to make entertaining easy for you. Don't forget, make it fun, make it easy, but most of all, enjoy the experience. Cheers.